Have you read a story in the Draoithe Saga and come away with a classic case of immersion aftereffect? Let me guess, there are questions which remain unanswered even as the magic expanded, adding another layer to the dream. The grand desire to turn the page to discover what happened next ended with the last leaf turned. If you're asking where the remedy for the book Hangover is, you know the answer: read another story. But you aren't ready for the next tale, not yet. The dust needs to settle before you pick up the next volume. So you have found your way here. You aren't alone. Even the author can't get enough. As you hear this, Ophelia Kee writes on. But allow me to offer you a possibility, a reflection on the tale you recently finished, and a way to revisit the story to ease the story blues. Welcome to the Draoithe Saga After Party. Warning, spoiler alerts ahead. Turn back now if you wish to read the story blind.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're stepping into a world where myths are real, walking among us, and where dreams, they're not just for escape. They can be paths to healing, even destiny.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. We're diving deep into Ophelia Kee's Ruler of the Mind. It's volume 5 in her Crimson Dragon miniseries.
And we're really focusing just on this one source, pulling out the surprising insights packed into this narrative.
Exactly. It blends paranormal romance, magical realism, urban fantasy.
Yeah.
It gives us a lot to unpack. Our goal is pretty much to extract those, nuggets of knowledge.
Right. We're looking at how trauma, really intense trauma, can actually be transformed into power. How unexpected connections heal, and what being fated really means in this kind of world.
It's a world full of magic, myths, and some pretty terrifying realities, honestly.
Absolutely. It's about finding balance in a place that seems built on imbalance.
Yeah, definitely not your typical romance plot.
So, okay, let's set the scene. Draoithe, the source calls it a dream to live for.
Right. Picture Tyler, Texas, but different. Eerily familiar, yet magical realist is how it's put.
A place where, legends and fairy tales are just there, walking around with everyone else.
Mm-hmm. It's not just backdrop, though. The whole point of the Draoithe Saga, the bigger picture, is restoring the magical balance of this dream.
And they do it one couple at a time, right? Building this immortal kingdom, the lean deal.
Exactly. So each story, each couple's journey feeds into that larger goal. It shows how personal healing connects to this huge magical restoration project.
And we should probably mention the style. It's described as steamy hot, wickedly delicious paranormal romance and urban fantasy.
Definitely. There are warnings. It's 18 plus, happily ever after, no cliffhangers, which is good to know.
But also, adult themes, fantasy violence, explicit situations.
And those elements, they're not just tacked on. They really drive the story forward. Especially these intense, fated mate connections. They're key to the magic and the healing process we see.
That's a really good point. The intimacy, the physical connection, it's actually integral to how their powers develop and how they fit into Draoithe's whole structure.
Yeah, the author uses those genre elements to explore deeper themes, like healing and finding power.
Okay, so let's get into the characters. We start with Misty Todorfer. She's kind of our way into this world, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
Yeah.
She sees her ability, what she calls her curse initially, as something that isolates her.
This Rialtoran, ruler of the mind, it made her afraid of people, prefer books.
And then something truly horrific happens. In Tempe, she's abducted, violated. It leaves her completely broken, plagued by nightmares.
Awful. And as a way to cope, she creates this fantasy lover in her head.
Which really shows you the mind's resilience, right? Trying to protect itself even in the darkest time.
Thankfully, she does find a safe place eventually. Her friends, Miles and Lainey, rescue her and bring her to Draoithe.
And Draoithe is this haven, specifically for magical beings. She gets a job in the library, cataloging magical texts.
And feels like she fits somewhere for the first time. That sense of belonging must have been huge.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
The library, that quiet space, lets her start to, rebuild.
Yeah.
Even with the nightmares still happening.
And it's those nightmares that bring in our other protagonist, Winter McLion.
Yeah, it turns out Misty's fantasy lover isn't entirely fantasy.
Not at all. He's Winter McLion, but he's also Flash, a 500-year-old immortal red dragon knight.
Resurrected centuries ago by a shaman. Became a weapon, a spy for kings. He's lived this kind of broken, lonely life himself.
And here's the twist. Misty's fear, her suffering, it actually woke long-dormant magic in him.
Right. For the first time in 300 years, he could enter someone else's mind. And he instantly knew
Knew what?
that Misty was his Valkyrie, his fated mate, destined to share magic with him. It's not like a choice. It's this deep, ancient recognition.
Wow. But he's got baggage too, right? A dark past.
Oh, yeah. He worked with Blaze, the dungeon master.
Yeah.
His specialty was mental torture for political prisoners.
Mhm.
He's very, very good at manipulating minds.
He even says, gunk in my head isn't all rated K.
Exactly. He carries a lot of darkness, which makes his role in Misty's healing kind of surprising, doesn't it?
It really does. It challenges the idea of who gets to be a healer. Can someone with that past actually help someone recover from trauma?
Well, the story suggests yes. That connection, that shared brokenness, maybe allows for a different kind of healing. It's not about being perfect.
And it starts in her dreams, right? This healing process.
Yeah, this is where it gets really unconventional. Winter senses her distress, enters her mind while she's asleep.
And he tells her, you need to see things differently. Promises he won't hurt her, that he'll erase what they did, and the nightmares.
It's definitely not traditional therapy. His approach is very direct, very intimate.
He uses touch, right? Massaging her feet, legs. The text says it eases the stress, takes away the tension, removes the fear.
And what's fascinating is how Misty reacts. She goes from terror to, well, desire. Even while wondering if he's real or just, in her head.
It's like he's reprogramming her response to touch, almost.
In a way, yes. Leveraging that deep mental connection to overwrite the trauma. And he's very possessive about
He
it.
calls her a treasure, rare and beautiful. Says, you belong to me.
And in the dream, he penetrates her sexually, but the focus is entirely on pleasure, on erasing the trauma, reclaiming her body from that violation.
It's intense. He even tells her to wear a blindfold, no panties, promising to continue it. It's radical.
Shocking maybe, but within the story's logic, it's framed as empowerment, giving her back control through pleasure initiated by someone who sees her value.
It works.
According to the book, yeah. After a week of these dream visits, her nightmares stop.
Wow. But she still thinks he's just a dream.
Mostly. She thinks maybe he was a beautiful, dreamy distraction that let her mind heal itself. She actually starts thinking about finding a real one.
Oh, she has no idea.
None at all. But Winter, he knows she's real.
Yeah.
And he decides it's time to make himself known.
He doesn't just, show up for coffee.
No, definitely not. Recognizing Misty as his Valkyrie flips a switch. He goes from observer to protector instantly.
Sells his surf shop, gets in his Aston Martin Valkyrie. Nice touch. That and contacts Blaze.
Right. Blaze the dungeon master. He needs help finding Misty's attackers.
And that's when the story gets bigger, right? It's not just about Misty's assault.
Exactly. Blaze reveals this guy, Peter Elliott, is behind a larger magic imbalance, and he specifically ordered Misty's abduction.
So her personal trauma is tied into this magical war.
And get this, 7 of the attackers are already Dragon's Worn servants at Draoithe, basically magically enslaved, and 1 is dead already, killed for attacking another Valkyrie.
So justice, or their version of it, is already moving fast.
Very fast. And Winter speeds it up. He arrives at Draoithe dramatically, with the remaining 4 rapists tied up in a rental van.
Just rolls up like that.
Pretty much. Then he swears fealty to Luke Mendez, the dire wolf king, the leader, the Rurik.
And that act, swearing fealty, it brings his full magic back. He's fully flashed the Dragon Knight again.
Then comes Misty's moment. She sees the men, identifies them.
And she gets to choose their fate.
Yes. And instead of execution, she chooses to have them turned into Dragon's Worn servants. For her. Specifically bound to her.
Whoa, what does that involve?
The source is graphic.
Oh.
Gelding and magical enslavement. It calls it justice served.
That's intense. It's not just revenge, it feels like reclaiming absolute power over them.
That seems to be the point. Transforming from victim to the one holding the leash, literally. It's a stark narrative choice about power.
Okay, so justice served, Winter's there. Now what? The big realization.
Yes. Misty finally understands Winter is real, not a dream. The source describes this incredibly emotional embrace. Acceptance.
He's hers, and then the claiming.
Right. This is the magical mating. It's physical, visceral. His fangs in her neck. She drinks his dragon blood.
Her own fangs descend, wings unfurl.
Yep. Grayed black wings like his hair. It's a physical transformation, binding them, making her a powerful magical being, too.
And their minds merge.
Completely. Love, knowledge flowing between them.
Yeah.
She gets his abilities, like his skill at building mental shields. By reviewing his memories, almost like watching YouTube videos, the text says.
That's incredible. So she becomes a queen of the mind.
Exactly. And Winter finds freedom. His centuries of loneliness are just gone.
It really shows that healing isn't always, a solo journey.
Absolutely not. It's often through these radical connections, accepting the messy parts of each other, that they don't just heal, they become something more powerful together.
And it's mutual, right? She wants to protect him now, seeing his dark past.
And he sees her as his balance. Their broken pieces fit together to make something strong, something whole. It changes everything for them and for Draoithe.
So they're together, they're powerful. How do they fit into life at Draoithe now?
Well, Misty, full of this new confidence, goes straight to Luke, the leader.
And asks him to basically assign Flash Winter to her.
Pretty much. She says her gift, the Real Twain, needs a mate for balance. So Lunt hires Winter, makes him the new outdoor adventures lead. Full benefits package and everything.
So he gets a job.
He gets a job. And it shows how Draoithe works, right?
Yeah.
It's the sanctuary. People heal, and then they contribute their skills back to the community.
Like Misty in the library. It's not just a job, it's a vital role.
Exactly. She's cataloging magic, helping everyone. She found her place and her purpose.
And their combined ruler of the mind powers get put to use pretty quickly, don't they?
Oh, yeah. There's this incident in the library. A dragon named Scorch attacks an archangel, Paladin.
Who's a Draoithe, like a local king.
Right. Scorch attacks him because Paladin upsets Scorch's mate, Moon, by trying to cleanse her taint.
Cleanse her taint, okay.
It's complicated magic stuff, but Misty steps in, explains the situation using her missile abilities. She clarifies the misunderstanding.
And Winter's there too, mentally.
Their combined presence helps de-escalate Paladin's sentence. He has to heal Moon, but without touching her. A kind of magical, nuanced justice.
So their power is used for conflict resolution, basically. Finding clarity.
Yeah, and for finding truth. There's another case, Lance Farber. He's a Valraven shifter.
A Raven human shifter?
Something like that. He's chained up, accused of murder. Flash investigates, with Misty mentally linked with him.
Using their mind-reading skills.
Exactly. They go into Lance's memories and find out he was drugged by Peter Elliott's men, acted in a fugue state. He wasn't responsible.
So they prove his innocence.
Instantly, Lance is freed, and Draoithe offers sanctuary for something called a shadow school. Their power delivers justice where, normal methods might fail.
It's amazing. Their individual traumas, the things that broke them, become the source of their strength and their ability to help others.
That's the core of it, I think. They find wholeness together, and that bond makes them this incredible force for good within their community.
They become essential to Draoithe.
Indispensable. Their whole journey just redefines what healing can look like and how powerful connection can be.
So looking back at Ruler of the Mind, it really is an extraordinary journey from Misty's deep trauma and Winter's centuries of isolation
to this profound transformation. Yeah, a curse literally becomes her greatest strength. A fantasy lover becomes a very real, very powerful destiny.
And their story, it really highlights that balance, doesn't it? Between healing yourself and contributing to the community around you.
It makes you think, finding where you belong, truly belong, it can unlock strengths you didn't even know were there.
Accepting the past, even the really ugly parts, and weaving it into a new identity. That's powerful stuff.
Misty and Winter embody that. They don't erase their pasts, they integrate them and become stronger for it, together.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to consider. In a world like Draoithe, where you can literally learn to build mental shields or share knowledge like downloading a file.
Yeah, what happens when someone becomes a ruler of the mind? What are the responsibilities, the ethical tightropes you have to walk?
And how does this idea of fated mates, this undeniable, powerful connection we saw, how does that change things like personal choice? Or even how justice is pursued when magic and destiny are involved?
Lots to think about there. How much is fate? How much is choice, especially when minds can literally merge? A fascinating question to leave with.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your support. For more, visit opheliakee.com. Welcome to the dream. Sincerely. Okay.